class. Okay. And I have also asked you to do practice on the part that you can create object of a class from that class also. These two parts. If you have any doubt regarding
Ma'am,
this part, yeah, tell me.
ma'am, your screen sharing, ma'am, your screen sharing is not showing.
I have not shared the screen right now. I have just telling to you the about the last class. I have till now I have not shared it. Okay, I have just discussed with you what we have discussed in the last class. So if you have any doubt from that class, you can tell me. You must have the ability to create object of one class from another class, as well as you have the idea of that how to create object of a class from that class also. Okay, so this part is over in your last class. Now I am sharing with you the skin, that is the concept of method. Already you have discussed the concept of method, that how you can access it, but till now I want to say you more detail about it. Okay, if you have any doubt or if you have any query, then you can anytime you can interrupt me and you can ask me. Okay, so the first part, now the screen is visible to you. Now the
Yes,
screen is
ma'am.
okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
this particular tutorial I will share with you in TCSN as well as in your WhatsApp group. So go through this tutorial also. Okay, and one more thing, you can simultaneously you need to study the textbook that I have shared with you. In a textbook, there is also lots of points, lots of other example also. And in the lab class as well as in the theory class, basically in the theory class, I will try to follow the example from the book so that you can easily relate this concept whenever you will study the text. Okay, just think about the part that I have discussed with you in the last class, that is the example of box class. That belongs to your textbooks also. Okay, today we will discuss about some other example. Now, the first point that is method. We all know that method is a member of a class. There are two members of a class, that is either data or the method. Okay, so today we will concentrate on the method. So what is the need for this method? It is nothing but a block of code or section of code or set of instruction that will perform a particular task. Look at the point of view of a programmer, that what the programmer actually do. Programmer have a set of data in his hand, and that data he needs to process to make it information. Okay, for that purpose he or she need to perform a set of instruction. That set of instruction, if we enclose it in a particular block, then that block will be known as a method in Java. That is the similar concept that you can say the concept of function in your C programming language. So what is method? The first point, it is a member of a class, and the second point, it is a block of code that perform a particular task. Okay, now what can be the example? Here it is given one example that why we will create the class. Basically, we will create the class for creating the template of a particular thing. Okay, and that particular thing will have some behavior as well as some state. To maintain it, we need to use this method. Here it is an example that you have to create, you need to write down a program that will create a circle and you need to color it. So what will come to your mind? The first thing that will come to your mind that you need to write down a class for that, because in Java, each and everything that should be encapsulated within a class. So the first point that will come to your mind that you need to define a class, and the name of the class is definitely we will go for the circle, because we are doing all circle related activity here. for making it relevant to your activity, you are creating a class that name of the class is circle. You can give another name to the class also, but it's a request to all of you that go make it a relevant name. So then you can recapitulate it. You can recall it whenever it is required. Okay. So the first part that will come to your mind, you need to define a template of the circle. Okay. So the template of the circle is you are defining the class that is named as a circle. After that, that circle you need to have some basic property. Here the basic operation we want to do it, that is a creating a circle or drawing a circle, and next one is color. So for performing these two operations within the class circle, you need to define two methods. The first method is required to draw the circle, and the second method is required to color the circle. We are not right now not considering the data part or field part. Now we are concentrating on the method part. That what are the behavior that the particular class will perform. Okay, or we can say better, we can say the particular object will perform. Okay, now this is the case whenever we are talking about the method. Okay, after that you need to follow that what are the several types of the method. Okay, there are several user defined methods. There are standard library methods. These two parts can be hacked. The normal part that we have just creating, that is creating a method to draw the circle and creating a method to color the circle, that belongs to the user defined method. Okay, but in Java later you will see it in detail that we always use some predefined method. Just take the example of your first Java program. That in your first Java program you have write down one particular thing, that is system.out.println or print. Print and println both are same, with the distinction that is println comes for the new line. Okay. Now this print or println, this is nothing but method. But think about the part, you are not defining that method. You are just accessing that method. Okay. So this method is belongs to the standard library methods. Okay. And here if we just create, that is the method of drawing the cycle, draw or color, just go for the name. That is for the first operation we are making a method name as draw, and second one is color. This draw and color method, that is user defined method. You are creating this method for your own requirement. And the standard library methods, or you can say in a normal way, that is the predefined method that is already defined. That methods help you to implement your function, implement your program in a more easier way. Okay, so that print or println method, that is the example for the standard library methods. Now here is a part that how you will declare the method. Okay, this is a normal syntax. That is normal, just like the C function. That is, you need to provide some return type and then method name, then enclosing first packet. After that, there is a method body. This is the normal scenario to declare any method. And this scenario I have used in the coding section in your last class, that we are creating a box class, and within that box class we are declaring three variables, height, width and depth, and for calculating the volume of the box we have just create one method that is named as a vol. Just recall that part, and for that part we are just creating a method using this same syntax, or we can say that this signature is same there. Okay, that is return type, then method name, then the enclosing first bracket. This is the normal syntax. We all know that what the return type will do. Return type will definitely return the type of the value that the method will return. Okay, if the method returns some value, then the type of the value, data types of the value, you must have to write down at the very beginning of your method name. Clear? If the method doesn't return anything, then you can write down here as a void. just like your previous day class program. In your previous day class program, we have written that void volume. Okay, because we are calculating the volume of the box in that method, as well as we are showing the result of the volume of the box class in that method also. That's why we don't need to explicitly return anything from that method. Okay, so that there we will just use the void keyword. Okay, after then this is method name. This is nothing but the identifier so that we can easily identify the method. And then after the method body, and the body definitely you all know that it will put you the set of instruction that you want to perform. Now look at an example. Already I have provided you an example, but look at this. This is the next part. Okay, so this is the first part, that is return type, method name, and the enclosing bracket. This is one signature. And next, this is more complex than the previous one, but you need to go through this declaration syntax also. That is, there may be a requirement that you need to provide the access modifier of the method that you have just discussed, that you have just written. Okay, what is the meaning of this access modifier? The meaning of this access modifier is that whether you are putting the restriction that your declared method will be accessible by all, accessible by a set of peoples, accessible by a set of peoples that belongs to a particular package, like that. That means you are providing the abstraction, or you are providing the restriction to the access to your method. If that is the case, then the syntax for declaring the method will be a slight different. First of all, you need to provide that access modifier. Access modifier can be of basically three, but there is also another type that is known as default. But the basic three types is public, private, and protected. Okay, public means it will be accessible by all. Okay, private means it will be accessible by the class in which it is defined. Private method means no other class member can access this method. Okay, and protected, whenever we are talking about the protected access modifier, that belongs to the inheritance concept. So when we will study the inheritance concept, that means one class acquired the property of another class. At that time, the protected modifier will help you. Okay, that what will be the access hierarchical strategy? That part will be related to this protected modifier. Okay, so when we will study the inheritance concept, at that time we will understand that why this protected access modifier will be used. Now, at this time, we can say that this is the modifier that is public, private, and protected. The next thing that you can use in your method signature, okay, that is the static keyword. Just think about the first day class. In a first day class, whenever we are doing the first programming, that is there is a main method, and then that main method is preceded with the term that is public static void. So what is the meaning of this static? Can anyone of you can tell me that what is the meaning of static from that discussion? Anyone of you, why is this static keyword is used in main method in Java? Why this static keyword is used? I've discussed it with you. Anyone can tell me that what is the meaning of static keyword whenever we are declaring the main method in Java? Anyone? Shayan, can you tell me what is the meaning of static keyword? Hello? Anyone from you can tell me what is the meaning of static keyword? Ritu Malli, can you hear me?
When we are not creating any object, then we can use static.
First of all, tell me your name.
Mithilesh.
Sorry. Mithilesh, yeah. Good. Good point that whenever you are not creating any object, but you want to access a particular method, then you can use this static keyword. This is very much helpful whenever you will do some uh, programming that in a depth sense. Okay. So this is the very good point, Mithilesh, that you will use the static keyword whenever you don't have any object at right now to access this method. Okay, so that point you have to use the static keyword. That's why the main method is defined as a static in Java programming language. Because look at the point that there must be an entry point to your program. At the very beginning, whenever you are not be able to declaring any or creating any object, so that how you will access this the code of that class. Definitely, you must have some entry point to your program to get access to the code of the program. So at that point, you need to define the main method as a static because you are not be able to creating any object right now. But you must have the ability to access the code. That's why the main method in Java is preceded with the static keyword. Okay. Now, here is also given an example that is square root method that is defined in standard math class. That is also an example for the static method. We'll just look it in a later. Now the next part is that is return type. I have just discussed with you. That is the name of the method. This is basically the identifier so that you can identify a particular method. After that, in the bracket, there may be some parameter. Now look at this point. Your method can be a without parameter, but it may also have the parameter also. Okay. Parameter means if you want to pass some value to a method for the ease of processing of that method. At that time, you need to write down that parameter within the parenthesis of the method name. Okay, just using these features, you want to pass some value to that method. Just think about the part you want to put some value that is for addition of two variables. Okay, and whenever you are just calling this method, then you will just put down the two value to this method. That is 2 and 6. So that you can get the output as a 8. So at that time you need to define the parameter. So how this parameter will be defined? This parameter will be defined within the enclosing first bracket. Okay, so this is the second method signature that you can follow. The first part is very much easier, that you just declare the return type and the name of the method, and at that time you can also define the parameter list as well as you can make the parameter list as a empty. This is optional. Okay, and the next type signature is that is you can provide the modifier to that method as well as you can precede this method with the static keyword, and these two parts have the two different meaning. I have just discussed with you. I think you don't have any confusion regarding this because we have discussed it more in your previous class also we have discussed about it. Okay, now the next part is that is the calling of the method. Okay, now whenever you want to call this method, this is a normal syntax, just like C program or any other traditional program. Just write down the method name and then there will be an enclosing semicolon. Okay, in your function, in your main class body or in your main method, if you can write down this name, okay, then the method will be executed. Provided that this method should be declared within the same class. But if the method is declared in the another class and you want to access it from the main class, at that time you need to define the object. Okay, so that By creating or by using the object name and using the dot operator, you can access the method. But the normal syntax that whenever you are declaring a method inside any class, then you can just write down the method name with the semicolon. Then it will be the calling syntax of that method. Okay. Now look at an example. Just go through an example. Example. Here it is a class that is named as a main, and we are creating one method for the addition of two integer variable. That is, the method name is add number. And in add number, this add number method, we are just passing two integer variable, two parameter here. Okay, one is int a, another is int b. And here we are defining the access specifier as a public. So what is the body of this method? Definitely, it must be calculating the summation of the integer value variable a and b, and then return this variable. Here it is within some variable, we are calculating the summation of this a and b, and then returning the sum. Since we are returning the sum and its data type is integer, we must have a data type of this add number as an integer data type. Clear? Now within the main class, I have just defined one data member, that is method, one method here. Now look at this point. This is the public static void main. In public static void main, what we are doing in public static void main, that means within main method, we are creating two variables, integer variables, that is num1 and num2. And we are initializing 25 and 15 here for these two variables. Now we want to create an object to access this class method. Okay. Now we want to create an access to, but look at this part, all the things that belongs to the same class also. Okay, this is the point, and from this point, I will ask you, I will provide you one home assignment that if I ask you to access this method without creating an object, then it will be possible or not. We will check it at your home. Okay, but just now look at this point that what is happening, that after creating these two variable, we are creating one object of the main class. Okay, and using the object name, we are creating the we are basically calling the add number method. Okay, and in the add number methods, we are passing down these two variables, that is num1 and num2. So whatever be the result that will returning to this sum variable, that will be returning by this add number method, and that result will be initialized in this result variable that is declared as an int also. Okay, so we are writing down this statement int result equal to obj dot add number within bracket num1 and num2. After that, we are just showing the result of the summation, that is sum is then plus variable, this is the result. So this is the case. In this case, we are creating one class, and within that class, in the main method, we are creating one object to access this method, that is the add number. Okay, and this is just because this is returning a integer variable, we are storing that value of this result variable in this variable, and we are showing this variable here. Now my question is, can anyone of you can do it at your home also, but one more question I want to ask you, that if I just want to access this method without creating any object of this class, is it possible? We want to modify this particular program in such a way so that we are creating a class. Within this class, we have a method, main method. Now, is it possible that without creating this object, that is obj, can we able to access this method or not? Because in our previous class, I have just discussed with you this section that you can create object of one class and access the method of that class in another class also. And you have a provision. You also have a provision That is, you are creating a class, and within that class, in main method, you can also create the object of that class as well as you can access the method. Okay, these two part is already over. Now my question is that in this class, is it possible that without creating the object of this class, we can access this method or not? Got my point? Do it at your home and then tell me the result in the next day, or you can share it with me in the lab section also. Okay. Any question from this program?
मैम एक बार रिपीट कीजिएगा आप क्या बोले करेंगे.
Look at this. In your previous class, we have created one. Just recall that previous class. You can do it in a lab section also. Okay. Just in a brief, I just want to tell you that we are in our previous class. We have created one box class. Okay. And that box class, we have declared three data variables, that is height, width, and depth, and one method, that is volume, to calculate the volume of that box. First part. After doing that part, we are creating another class. In that class, there is a public static void main, and within the void main, we are creating object of that class, and using the object of that class, we are just accessing the method as well as the data variable of the box class. This is done in your previous class. Now look at this class. In this class, for making summation of two variables, we are not creating any extra class. We are just creating one class, that is the main class. In this main class, we are creating one method. Whatever be the syntax of the method, whatever be the body of that method, irrespective of that, we are accessing this method of within the same class in the void main. Okay, but we are accessing this method by creating the object of this main class. But now my question is it possible so that in the public static void main, we are let's just look at this. In this line, if I just write down result equal to okay, just a minute. You need to declare it in this point because we are declaring the num1 and num2 in previous author. My question is it possible? This line, if I write down this line, then the output of this program will be same or not. For that part, we are just discarding this part. Okay, so is it possible if I just write down this line instead of this line? Then your program will be okay or not? This is my question. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just do it, then you will have an idea that what is the syntax or what is the procedure, so that you can do it freely in the later section. That whether you need to create an object or not, or whether you need to create a method within the same class, within different class. Look at this point that whenever we are doing the object-oriented programming, it looks like that for each and everything you need to create object. This is the fundamental thing. But at the same time, you must have an idea that which part is required for creating the object. Or what is the difference if we don't create the object and use the method of any class, then what will happen? What will be the disadvantage? From that point, you will get the full idea that why this object-oriented programming is needed. Why we used to have several methods, several objects of a class. Okay, this is the case. Then just go through it and tell me that what will be the answer of it. Okay, just doing the remaining part. Definitely, we will provide, if you provide this question, then it will be the output. Moving to the next part. I think the return type is okay to you. Any doubts from the return type of any method? This is similar to the function return type of function in your C programming language. Any doubt from the return type? Used what will be the return type like that? Any query regarding return type? I think you don't have any query regarding return type.
No.
For providing the return type, that is why return type is used, what will be the case for the return type. Like your previous example, here we are calculating the square variable display. Sorry. Now here is one more point that is very related to the next concept, that is a very famous concept of Java, that is known as a method overloading. Uh, have you any query that why parameter is passed to a method? What will be the syntax for it? Any query regarding this? One point that I just want to share with you, that whenever you are declaring any parameter in Java programming, at that time just write down, this is the syntax, that is just write down the data type, then the variable name, then just you, if you want to pass two variable of the same data types, don't write that int a comma b. Okay, you need to write down it separately, that is int a, int b. Whenever we are talking about a special method that is named as a constructor, that one question that one student asked me in the next lab session, that why ma'am, for each and every time we have to create separate object of each and every class whenever you want to make it in real life entity. That means for each and every box object we need to write down three separate line, that is object dot obj dot height, obj dot width, obj dot depth. For that purpose, I have just told you that we have a special features in Java that is known as a constructor. This is nothing but a special type of method and whose name is same as the class name. Using the concept of that constructor, you can create, you can just pass on the value to that object variable. Okay, whenever you are allocating memory for that object, that may be the case that we will also discuss, but for that purpose you must have a clear idea about this parameter. So have you any doubt regarding the parameter passing of a method, that why this is write down here int a, int b? Whenever you will call this method, then what will be the value, what will be the sequence of value assigning to this variable? I'm just I think there must not have some doubt regarding it, because you are familiar with this in your C programming language also. So that whenever you want to pass on value to a particular method, you need to write down the some parameters. Here we are adding two integer parameters, two whole number. That's why we are passing here two parameters. Okay, there is a term that is actual parameter and formal parameter. So whenever you are just putting down the value, whenever you are call this method, at that time you need to write down here the value. So that just like if you write down here, that is at number, then 12 comma 12 comma 39, then what? the meaning of it. Then whenever you will just call this method like this way, so at that time this 12 will be initialized in A and this 39 will be initialized as B. And that should be keeping, although Java has the several type conversion property, but keep in your mind whenever you are defining any parameter inside the bracket of a method, then you must follow the same signature or same type of the data variable of whenever you are passing the value of that variable to that method. That part you need to keep in your mind. At least these two part keep in your mind. Then the remaining part, that what is the concept of method overloading, what is the concept of parameter passing, what is the concept for call by value and call by reference. Okay, that we'll discuss in later. But at this time, these two part is very much needed. Any query regarding this? That why this parameter will be passed, how the value will be assigned to it. Any query regarding this? Query, then you can interrupt
No,
me.
ma'am.
Here is one example, that is whenever you have method of using several parameters, you can just go through it. Okay, there is no special features of this program, but this particular features tells you that whenever you are calling a method without any parameter and whenever you are calling a method with a parameter, then what happens? Okay, definitely in this particular method, we are not passing down any parameter and we are showing a line of it, that is without any, this method is called without any parameter. And whenever we are passing a particular value to a method, then this is the print statement for that. This is the normal scenario. But the main point happen that when we will write down this display one, this is also this display, then what happened? Can you tell me that what will be the error, or if there is any error or not? You are calling at the same time, whenever you are calling this is display one and that is display two, also the name is same. Is there will be any error? And if there is an error, then what will be the error? We are just discussing about two methods, that is name is same, okay, but the parameter list is different.
Method overloading.
Yeah, this is the concept of method overloading, but now we are not discussing about the method overloading. I just want to ask you that what will be the error message in this question? What will be the error message? Just do it, okay, do it in familiar of that. Next part we will discuss that what is method overloading. Very good answer. That is the concept of method overloading also. What will be the error? Just do it at your phone. It may take some time. So I have just skipped it right now. So there will be an error because we are declaring two methods with the same name, although the parameter is different. So the name is, since the name is same, it may be at the normal sense we think that there will be an error. But this part, this confusion, this can be resolved in Java with the help of a special concept that is known as a method overloading. Java allow you to declaring several methods with the same name with different parameter signature. Okay, different parameter passing. That is one method may be called. Just think about this previous example. That is display. First display is called without any parameter and the second display is called using one parameter. So during the compile time, the compiler of the Java, it will decide on the basis of the signature type of the method that which method will be called. That is the concept of method overloading that I will show you. But this is the last part of this tutorial. That is the example of the Java standard library method. And it is one example is provided here. That is the square root. SQRP. This method is used without declaring or without defining this method in this particular program. So this is the example for using Java standard library method. How you can use it. For that part, this square root method, this is already defined in the math class. Okay, and this math class, the hierarchy of this math class is java.lang.math. Okay, this class of hierarchy we will also study whenever we will study about the package, that how the class hierarchy can be defined in Java. In most of the cases we will see there will be lots of methods that we are using in our program without declaring it or without importing any extra package for it. This is also a concept in Java, that whenever you are declaring a class, many more things that is directly incorporated to your program so that you can access it. This is the age of your usability. This is the age for readability of your program. This is the age for the making operation much more easier to your program. Okay, this is one example. Just this is that method square root. This square root, this method, this is the already predefined method, and where it is defined, it is defined in the math class. So whenever you just want to do the square root of any number, you can just call it. And one more important point, that whenever you want to call a particular method of a class, then you can use the dot operator. Okay, here it is written down as a math dot square root. And within this first bracket, you have to declare the variable value of this variable for what you want to make the square root. Okay, so this now what this syntax is already defined in this math class also. This syntax I just want to say you, that is the definition of this square root method, that how the square root method can be called. This whole part is described in this math class. So whenever you want to access any Java standard library method, you can call it with the help of dot operator, as well as you need to know that what is the parent class, what is the class in which it is defined. And sometimes it may be needed that you need to provide the class hierarchy also. Okay, just look at this part. We are using this pint method, and for using this pint method, we have to use two dot operator. So why this two dot operator? Why here it is we are just using the one dot operator? That two part is also most important. Okay, so whenever we'll study this class hierarchy, so then it will be more clear to you. But at this point, just keep in your mind that whenever you want to access any particular method, okay, any particular method that is predefined, that is already defined in Java library, then you have to use the dot operator, as well as you need to know the name of the class in which it is defined. This is a pure example of using the Java standard library. So any query from this point right now? There is another extra point, that is why we will use method. Definitely, this is for any query regarding this.
No, ma'am.
So I will just share it with you in the TCS honor. And one more thing that I want to tell you, that many more of you have still now not joined in the class of object-oriented programming in TCS honor. I have shared with you the invitation, but many more of you till now didn't join the class. Where is the seer? Shumon? Are you present there in the class? Shumon?
No, ma'am. No present.
Um, who is the other seer?
Yes, ma'am.
What your name?
Sohel, ma'am.
Sohel. So keep it in your mind so that every student must join in the class in TCSI. Okay, and one more thing that I have already shared with you the whole assignment. Okay, that is the first assignment, that is for CA1, that is also provided to you. That there is only 5 questions. That is from the basic concept of your object-oriented programming. Okay, so every one of you are requested to write down the assignment from now, so that at the last end it will be easier for you to submit within the deadline. Now it will be
मैम
strictly
डेडलाइन
followed
कब
by.
है?
I think for deadline I have not mentioned in your assignment, but it may be the end of the September. Maybe whenever it will be officially declared, then I will declare it to you. But do it from the beginning, because that question I think right now at present you will be able to answer that question. So write down in a, you know the procedure, write down in a A4 sheet or whatever in your text exercise book, and just write down your name, your college ID, as well as your department, stream, and subject, and put signature in each and every page, and just upload it in TCSN. Okay, you know the procedure, so do it fast, so that at the last end you have in a hurry. So you have to submit assignment of all the subject. For that purpose, all the assignment is already uploaded to you. That is as from assignment CA1 to CA4. Just go through it. And for the lab section, I have provided you a set of programs. So whatever the programs, or what are the programs that you have already performed in your lab session, just try to write down that program, just like in a 4 page or whatever be your text exercise book, and try to write down it, and as well as its output, its source code, so that at the end of the day, whenever you will be asked for the PCA1 submission, then it will be easier for you. Do it systematically, then there will be no pressure to you. Okay, the time is already
Yes.
over, so we'll discuss the method overloading concept in the next day. Okay, as well as the constructor. These two part is very important. This is the basic for Java. That is the object method class, object method, and constructor. So the next two part, that is the extended feature of method, that is method overloading, and as well as the concept of special method, that is constructor, we will discuss in the next class. Till then, do practice on this code that I have shared with you, as well as try to study the study book that I have shared with. That is the complete reference. This is the core book, or this is the mother book. Okay, you can follow it for your campus interview and for your later section, wherever you will go and you will be asked for the Java programming, then this is the core book. From this book, we will get the basic idea. And at the end of this semester, or whenever we will get the time, we will discuss, we'll at least take one class that several questions that is the tricky question that can be asked in the interview also, that we will also perform. Okay, but at this time, try to clear the basic idea of this object-oriented programming. That is the concept of class, object, method, constructor. How we can access it, how we can define it, how we can access from different point, like that. Okay, and if you have any query regarding this, you can ask me anytime. You can ask me in WhatsApp group, you can ask me in mail, you can ask me in the lab session, in the theory class, anytime. Okay. So, take care. Just a minute. Take your attendance. Okay, you can leave now.
Thank you.